Where might that koozie be? Right over here. It is now 11:27, and we are going to do some fun stuff over here on YouTube while I'm here with good Wi-Fi. So, I'll turn the playback down so that way the live stream doesn't get interrupted. Now, how about we open a nice cold one? I'm going to put this in the new koozie I just got from Culture Vulture here in New Orleans. It's Peter Steele doing his Playgirl pose. And how about this? We got Pedro Lopez already in the live stream. How you doing, man? I'm supposed to be meeting you tomorrow. Are you in Dallas now? Nope, I fly in tomorrow. And that's going to be fun. I think I'm going to be going to a show tonight. And there's still a few things I want to do here in the lovely Voodoo city of New Orleans. So, yeah, plenty of cool stuff going on. Let's see. Kino, how you doing? The Area Uncensored, hi. Snaggletooth. Glorbus, hey, how you doing? Helter Skelter. Helter Skelter! Makes me want to play Warlock by Skinny Puppy. That is so good. Are you going to see the Museum of Death, Life and Liberty? I saw that 2 visits ago, and I really enjoyed it. It was a fun museum. The main excursions, I went to walk around in some cemeteries yesterday. The cemetery that I wanted to go to was Oddfellows Rest, because, you know, Crowbar album's named after that, and Crowbar's from New Orleans. But for some reason, Oddfellows Rest was closed. They were closed last time I tried to visit them, too. And, you know, they had locks on the gates. And I guess they must be doing some maintenance or something, because all the cemeteries around them were open. So, hey, that's what we got to do. We got to walk around those cemeteries, and Morning Call was there. So, you know, apparently that's a thing with New Orleans people, is you have to have opinions on the beignets. Do you prefer Café du Monde or Morning Call? I've been to Café du Monde many times, but yesterday was the first time I went to Morning Call, and I enjoyed it quite a bit. In fact, I probably like it a little more. Partly because I don't have to stand in line for 20 goddamn minutes before I get the food. The thing about Café du Monde is, like, you stand in line all that time, and they're so busy all the time that sometimes you don't really get the food right out of the oven. You know, it's already bagged up, ready for the next order. And so, Morning Call, it's like you can watch them cook it, you know, because the thing is behind the counter. But, yeah, and also they had hot chocolate on the menu. Okay, that's something that I wish more coffee shops would have, is hot chocolate, because sometimes it'll be like 4 or 5 in the afternoon when I get there, and it's like, I don't want to drink too much coffee because then I'll never be able to go to sleep. Hot chocolate, it's got caffeine in it, but, you know, it's hot chocolate. It's not going to keep me up at night. Okay, let me see who else is talking to me. Snaggletooth asks if I smoke. No, I do not. I am pretty health conscious, and, that's that. Pete Knox asks if I've heard the new Autopsy album. Yes, I have. For some reason, I pre-ordered it in August, and Peaceville decided not to ship it to me until a few days after it came out. That defeats the purpose of a pre-order, you know? Like, it used to be, you would pre-order something in the hopes that you would get it on the release day, or pretty close to it. But, nah, man, if you're gonna ship it out after it comes out, then that defeats the whole point of pre-ordering, you know? I remember when Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows came out. Of course, most of the world pre-ordered it, and Amazon had on their boxes, Muggles, do not open until July 7th, or whenever it was it came out. My mom kept that box for a lot of years. CD Sandwiches, the Arena Uncensored, they filmed Easy Rider there in New Orleans. Yep, they did. New Orleans, a lot of good culture, and apparently they make Tabasco here too, which is really cool because Tabasco has their own store. I was walking downtown 2 days ago, and I saw they had their own store, and I was like, yes! I fucking love my hot sauces. You know what? I'll show you the hot sauce I got. They don't sell this in North Carolina, but the hot sauce they had there that I couldn't find anywhere, that I'd never seen before, they got the scorpion sauce. Okay, so apparently this is the hottest sauce they make. And I've tried it already. It is really good. Like, it's insanely hot, but it's got a good flavor, you know? That's the thing, you know, I love hot sauces, but, like, if you're sacrificing flavor for the sake of hotness, yeah, I don't know. Kind of defeats the enjoyment for me. It's kind of like a woman. You can have a 10, but if she's got shit for brains, that kind of defeats the purpose. You want someone who's a 10, but also has a brain between her ears, you know what I mean? Okay, Gary Branham asks, which Muppet would I fuck? Huh? What kind of question is that? Okay, Kaz Jacket, loved your album, man. Excited for more. Why, thank you. Thank you so much. I've been playing bass for the last couple days because a family member that I'm staying with, they have guitars and basses here that I've been able to fuck with. And the funny thing is, they got a new cat, and so every time I pick up the bass and start to play it, I'm like the Pied Kitten Piper. You know, the cat just comes running in from the other room. He likes the sound of the bass, I guess. And so the cat just jumps up on my lap and watches my hands as I'm playing the bass. And the cat's like... He tries to attack my hands, I guess. What else? So, how about this? How about Mick Mars being replaced in Motley Crue by John Five? John Five's a good replacement guitarist for him, definitely. I got to see Motley Crue open for Kiss back in 2012, and they put on a good show. Vince Neil, of course, skipped every other word. We have to thank you motherfuckers for coming out here today. Yeah, I'm here to sing about fucking Dr. Feelgood. But the rest of the band, of course, they always do a great job. And Mick Mars, you know, with his health conditions, I'm surprised that he's hung in there as long as he has. Because let's be honest, he's always looked kind of deathly, but he's looked especially bad in the last few years. So, you know, hopefully he gets help. He must have gone through a lot of pain performing with Motley Crue over the years. Because, like, you watch the videos, and most of the time he's not even really moving, and you can't blame him. You know, it's like his condition, it affects his spine, his hips, and I think his hands. I could be wrong. Oatmeal asks, wasn't that tour they did with Kiss supposed to be their final one? With Kiss, no. That was in 2012. Motley Crue did their supposed final tour in 2015, I think. And I'm not sure who was playing with them at that point. But, yeah. It's nice to hear the, redubbed videos on YouTube with new subtitles for Vince Neil missing the words for Kickstart My Heart. You know, it's talking about buffets and Big Mac 103 and all that other shit. Oh, man. Kino asks, haven't gotten to see Motley Crue on the North American tour. Hope they booked and played Heavy Montreal next summer. Well, they should. I mean, obviously they're desperate for money, so what the fuck? I mean, don't expect a great vocal performance from Vince Neil. And let's be honest, he has never sounded good live. He's just like David Lee Roth, you know. He's great on the albums, but live, David Lee Roth sounds awful. And same thing with Vince Neil. He sounded awful in the videos I saw of them back in the 1980s. Well, from back in the 1980s. I'm not that old. But Snaggletooth, I could go to Bangalore. They have some heavy metal there in India, but I can't afford that. And buying albums ain't easy. The dollar's going up and extort prices are going up as hell over here. Yeah, I mean, inflation's pretty bad here too, but, I mean, the solution is don't go to big shows anymore, I guess. Go to these club shows and pub shows and support your local bands because, you know, your favorite band at one point was a local band. So, you know. Everybody's going apeshit over the Blink-182 ticket prices, and it's like, why are you guys freaking out over Blink-182 anyway? They fucking sucked back then, and they suck now! Look, when I listened to them for about a year, I was 12 or 13 years old, but that's the thing. I was 12 and 13 years old. And even back then, I was like, okay, so I know that teenagers are their target demographic, but why are these grown men in their 30s singing so many fucking songs about high school? It's like the Ramones did that for the first few albums, but they grew out of that, you know? and I think also part of that was because the Ramones were in high school themselves when they started. I don't know. But, yeah, so for those who missed the stream, there's a really cool t-shirt place in New Orleans called Culture Vulture. They got all these cool t-shirts of metal bands and thrash bands and some goth stuff, you know, like Skinny Puppy and Bauhaus and Sisters of Mercy. But they had this cool koozie with Pete Steele of Typo Negative. And I bought that mainly because I just finished doing the redux of the Typo Negative video. So I thought this was a pretty timely purchase. And it was especially funny because this is the front cover pose that he did for Playgirl back when he did that. Okay, so, yeah. Donk lad, oh my god, my first Killbot live. Well, hey, welcome to a good Killbot and Gor Gor Attack live stream. I hope you enjoy it. Email Lempinen. Hey, this is the first time I've seen you streaming. Love your videos, bro. Have a great Friday. Why, thank you. Thank you so much. It's going to be a great day, and it's going to be a great weekend in general. I've had a lot of fun this week, and it doesn't end here. By the way, I checked out your channel. I follow Tug TV or have them featured or something. Okay, retype that. Coffee. Hey, should I grow my hair long? I like yours, and mine looks like that when it's long. I'm tempted to just get it shoulder length or longer again. Hey, go for it, man. It's a sign of youth. But, Alpha Royale asks, is the Redux already uploaded? Will it be a separate upload from the original video? Well, that's what I'm here to talk about, because I'm extremely excited for this. I've been working on this Typo Negative Redux for a couple weeks now. The video is already uploaded, but it hasn't been published yet. Here's the deal. When I did the video 4 years ago, the original plan was to make it my Halloween video. I wanted it uploaded on Halloween, but the thing is, I kind of did it scattershot as I went along. The writing, the shooting, everything, the editing, everything just got bigger and bigger, and I wanted to include more details and more material. And I missed the deadline. I kick myself in the ass for that all the time, but, I would absolutely... This time, I wanted to be sure that I make the deadline for Halloween, so that's the plan. It's going to be published on Halloween, assuming that the copyright claims I'm having disputed are not going to affect it. Because it looks like a different company is claiming it this time. This time, SME is claiming it, and they're notorious for being bastards with copyright claims on YouTube. But so far, I haven't heard anything back from them. There's a reason why you don't see many videos on AC/DC on YouTube. Because SME claims them, and they block those fucking videos in countries. Now, this video hasn't gotten blocked, fortunately. I remember there was a copyright claim a few years ago for the original Typo Negative video, but that kind of went away on its own. But yeah, as far as the new material added, okay, so there are two new sections. Okay, there are two new sections. I covered Nativity in Black, which I can't believe I didn't put in the original video. And then I covered The Least Worst Of. Because at first I thought it was just a greatest hits album, there was going to be no need to cover it, but after reading the comments, people were saying, oh, well, you should have talked about The Least Worst Of. There were B-sides and unreleased stuff on there. I was like, you know, okay, yeah, that makes sense. Maybe I should have covered that. So, I bought the least worst of about a month ago, and now that section's in the video. Meanwhile, I also did some color correcting because there were a couple shots, particularly towards the end, that look orange. And, well, I was kind of in a rush to get it out because, like I said, I missed the deadline. So, yeah, this was also before I started really doing color correcting for the videos, so just a couple shots got fixed. For the most part, the content itself is unchanged. I did redub some of my voice. Because if you watch in the Dead Again video, that is very badly dubbed. So I redubbed that. I redubbed a few other lines that sounded particularly southern. And then there were other lines that just sounded unnatural and weird, so my voice is going to sound a little more natural. And also, I used to do this with my older videos, but I used to speed up my videos just for pacing and energy. And sometimes it helped, and the problem was I overdid it. So this time, I slowed those sections down to normal, and they flow better. So the pacing's better, the information and the speed of it flying towards you is better. And the overall volume is better because I'm not compressing everything as much as I used to. But the cool thing is, like, years ago I was having problems with space on my computer. And so I had to delete a lot of project files for most of the videos I had done at that point. Well, the typo negative video was the final video I did in iMovie because iMovie was just... It was giving me a lot of problems. And after that video, I switched over to Final Cut. But I deleted most of the project data for all the other videos I'd done before that. And the only video that I'd saved project data for was the typo negative video. Yes! 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 That made it so much easier to edit this and fix everything up to the way it was supposed to be and do some cleaner cuts and make some volume adjustments with the music here and there, and do some color correcting and all that other stuff. Even the end credits gets a slight redux. Because, like, the original end credits, it was like this giant block list of songs that I used, and it's like, it's unappealing to look at. So this time it's more of a scrolling credits. And also, the candles at the very end, you know, the typo negative shaped candles, they're more green now, you know, instead of a whitish green. So, yeah, that's what the Green Man would have wanted. Some people also said, oh, well, you didn't mention Sal Abrascato at the end of the video. Well, he's mentioned now. And also, the biggest thing that I wanted to update was Pete's cause of death. Initially, they reported it as an aortic aneurysm. However, an autopsy later revealed that he had actually died from sepsis from diverticulitis. Diverticulitis is apparently difficult to detect at the time. So, yeah, the family had actually updated that news publicly 2 days after the original upload. Man. But, yeah. Oh, also the origin of the feces section. I mentioned that it was a rumor that the band had blew all their budget on a second album on beer and motorcycles, and they just shot out a faux live album in the studio. That didn't actually happen. What actually happened was they just wanted the novelty of it. Like, what band releases a live album as their second record? Well, that was them. And they wanted to work on the slow, deep, and hard songs a little more. So it wasn't one of those things where they were trying to get out of trouble. But yeah, I'm extremely excited for this. An already great video just turned into the goddamn Mona Lisa, and I am extremely excited for everybody to see it. If this isn't my favorite video that I've done, then it's definitely in my top 3 because it's... Typically, I don't watch my own videos after I upload them, because for me, I'm usually off to the next project. But rewatching this for the first time in 4 years, it was like, wow, I really outdid myself here, you know? And yes, I know a lot of you are wondering, hey, what about Dead Again? It's being reissued on vinyl and longbox and CDs. Well, I already have that album, the original version, but I did pre-order the longbox because I don't have the second disc with the live stuff, so I'm looking forward to that. I kind of want a Typo t-shirt or poster, but I'll get to that at some point. Okay, let me go back to reading some of these comments because I know a lot of you are eager. Let's see. Life and Liberty, do you like Electric Wizard? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Excuse me. Do you have any recommendation? Lonely Milk, do you have any recommendations for death metal albums? I'd say go for Disciples of Mockery. Kaz Jacket, you ever going to do any videos on punk rock or more of them? I'm not sure if you've done any yet. I've watched all your videos. The most punk rock videos I've ever done were on the Ramones, the Life is Abuse catalog, and the Tank Crimes catalog, but I wouldn't mind doing some more punk videos. In fact, tomorrow I might actually do a vlog on seeing the Misfits. Of course, there's not going to be any Misfits music because Danzig's going to strike that shit down immediately off of YouTube, but I'm thinking about just doing a video on my day in Dallas. And I'm gonna be staying in Texas for a few days after the show, so that's gonna be pretty nice. A really nice friend that I had met online a few months ago, and we hit it off, and based on our video call a couple weeks ago, it seems like we will get along just fine. We're not gonna get sick of each other, so that's a gauge that I do, is like, before I agree to stay with anybody, I have to video call them first just to see how well we can get along for an extended period of time. Nestor C, good afternoon. This is my first stream I joined. Hey, we got a lot of first timers here. You can call me Nestor since my username is probably difficult to pronounce. Well, that's cool. That's what I'm going to do anyway. Tamer Dark Soul 666. Hey, how you doing? Zach does reviewing. Favorite Friday the 13th movie? I'm usually split between either part 4 or part 6. Like, part 4 has probably the best kills, but part 6 is the most fun to watch. It's probably the most 80s of all those movies, but it's so good. And Alice Cooper doing the soundtrack. Dun 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 dun. Man, I wish he'd play that tomorrow. He's probably not, but man, wouldn't that be some shit if he played Man Behind the Mask? Or any of the other, metal era of Alice Cooper. You know what I mean, like Raise Your Fist and Yell and Constrictor. Those were good albums. Not a lot of people talk about them these days, but, those are good albums. He does play Brutal Planet, which I love that song, but fuck, man, play some 80s hair metal, Alice. Coffee. I watched Halloween by Rob Zombie and really enjoyed it. It was way more brutal than the original. Dude, that movie was so fucking trashy and mean-spirited for no good reason. And then, they made Michael too tall. It's like, man, he's supposed to be scary, but he's just looming over everybody. How's he supposed to hide around corners? I mean, what the fuck? Lord Beharit says, hey, how's it going, man? Hadn't been on your channel since your collab with the Metal Monster. Well, you should check out some of my other stuff, because it's really fucking good. But, yeah, I'm doing pretty good. Channel's on a pretty big upswing. I'm getting ready to upload the redux of what's probably my masterpiece video. That's going to be uploaded on Halloween, so everybody stay tuned for that. I'm doing a live stream right now because, well, for one, I'm trying to kill time, and for another, I'm trying to keep the algorithm going in my favor. So, I'm thinking maybe, if I push out something pretty close to the typo video, that might boost it a little. I wonder if anybody from Typo has seen the original video. If they haven't, they shouldn't. They should watch this upcoming one. Yeah, another notable change. I didn't include the music video for September Sun in the original video because the only quality they had was like 240. Well, Nuclear Blast, they're doing that reissue of Dead Again, and they just uploaded an HD video of September Sun, which really it's probably just upscaled. But yeah, this time the September Sun music video is briefly shown in the ending. So yeah, the Dead Again graveyard scene is slightly re-edited to fit that. And it's an effective edit. I'll admit the way it's edited and the way it flows into the next scene kind of made me choke up a little bit. But for those who've seen the video, you already know the ending. Oh yeah, the ending song too. A lot of people like my MIDI garage band rendition of My Girlfriend's Girlfriend. Well, the bass and the guitar on the original video for that little rendition, those were MIDI. So this time I thought, well, fuck, let's make it different. You know, let's put some real guitars and real bass on there since I'm using a decent amp set now. So there we go. CD Sandwiches says, hey, Killbot, what's your favorite Death album? Sound of Perseverance. I think they got better as they went along. Will Dean says, hey, Killbot, I have a question. I understand that you downsized your vinyl collection, but do you still collect vinyl? Well, I have a little over a dozen records left. Those are albums that I'm not planning on getting rid of. Unfortunately, vinyl is a necessary evil. There are some albums that I have that have never been pressed to CD, or they have vinyl-only mixes or vinyl-only songs. And so I still own those, but when I sold most of my records, I rebought most of them on CD. So, you know, one example that I like to use when I tell people this story is, you know, I sold my entire Ramones vinyl collection, and okay, I'm sorry. I'm scattershot. I'd sold half my Ramones records and was able to rebuy the entire catalog on CD. So that's, you know, the cost of CDs is nice. I went to Euclid Records yesterday in New Orleans, and they're a really great record store, but, you know, these CDs right here, let's see, $5 a piece for these 3. Now, do you know how much it would cost to get 3 used records? If they're good records, a lot more, you know? In this case, we have Frontline Assembly's Implode. Love this album. Great late 90s Frontline album. We've got Felter, Title of Record. Ooh, yeah. Love some Felter. Even met Richard Patrick at an airport a month ago. See my last live stream where I talk about that. But, yeah, that turned me into a Felter fan, if I'm being honest. And we have Adore by the Smashing Pumpkins. It's shit on by a lot of people, but I've always liked this album. I think the only crime that it had was that it had to follow Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. Nothing could have followed that album, you know? It doesn't matter how good this album could have been. You know, it was destined to disappoint. They were a victim of their own success. And also in the store, they had some Resonance vinyl figures. And I'm good with Aaron Tanner, who runs the book company Melodic Virtue. He did a book on the Resonance sometime this year, I think. This year, last year, something like that. So whenever I see anything Resonance related, I think of Aaron. So I took a picture of these vinyl figures, and he was like, holy shit, dude, I've been looking for those for a long time. Fucking please buy them for me and mail them. I'll pay you back, like, now. I'm like, all right, sure, no problem. So they also had a Butthole Surfers record, the Weird Revolution album. They had the clear vinyl. It was $100, which I don't like that album, but it was cool to see it there. It was kind of a rarity. Okay, what else? Alpha Royale. 12 Black Rainbows off the least worst of is really underrated. Might have worked better instead of the Beatles medley, but either way, I'm on a big Typo binge this month. Yeah, me too. Typo Negative and Black Sabbath. Those are the 2 bands that I'm binging this month because 'tis the season. Misfits also, obviously, because I'm getting ready to see them tomorrow. Man, I still haven't let that sink in. I'm seeing the Misfits tomorrow with Danzig. God, That's like... And in Chicago tomorrow, Autopsy is going to be tearing it up. So that was the trip that I had originally had planned when I came back to North Carolina from my exes. I wanted to go see Autopsy, but then the Misfits announced that they were doing their thing, and I said, Autopsy's not breaking up. The Misfits could implode at any minute, so let me go see them while they're still doing stuff. So the lineup is Misfits, Alice Cooper, and originally the Distillers were planned to play. Yesterday, it was announced that the Distillers aren't going to play, but Fear's going to play. I love Fear! Their legendary performance on Saturday Night Live where they got banned for life. And there was a mosh pit right there in the studio in New York. Go look it up. It's glorious. They were John Belushi's favorite band. I love living in the city! It's just so fucking good. Yeah. Loving you. Dave Mustard Stain. Hey, started watching your channel some time ago and I really love your stuff. This is also my first stream of yours. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. Welcome to the channel. There's plenty of great stuff to explore. I like to think that my channel is recreational and that, for the most part, no two videos are alike, unless they're reviews. You know, I've got editorials, skits, vlogs, my own songs, reviews, of course, just all different types of stuff. And be sure to check out the new Typo Negative Extended Edition that's coming out on Halloween. I'm extremely proud of that. So, there you go. Glorbus of Glittery Girliness says, how do you feel about Faith No More, Mr. Bungle? I like him. I like him, definitely. I was listening to Faith No More the other day on the Nativity in Black tribute album to Black Sabbath. Someday I want to give that album its own video because it was a pretty big deal when it came out. And I had heard Typo Negative's cover of Black Sabbath that same year that I did the video on Typo Negative. But for some reason, I didn't think to include it in the fucking video. I should have. Because that inclusion on that tribute album introduced a lot of people to Typo Negative. So, there you go. The Dope Show asks if I like Blondie. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. Three-Legged Raccoon. Hey, how you doing, man? Jarvis Haynes, are you a fan of The Residents? I like The Residents, however, they have had 60 albums, and I think I've only heard 2 of them. So, I'm barely familiar with them. Like, I know who they are, and I understand what their concept is. They've got so much stuff, and let's see, I've heard Meet the Residents, and I think I've heard Eskimo? I can't remember. But, like, they're more of a visual project than a band, I think. Callum Cookie asks what my favorite Typo Negative song is. Yours is Wolf Moon. Oh, man, that's such a good one. I think Haunted is pretty underrated. Man, they got so many great songs. Fucking Halloween in Heaven's great. In Praise of Bacchus. Unsuccessfully Coping with the Natural Beauty of Infidelity is another one. I like Goyles, of course. Anastasia. There's a reason Anastasia is at the beginning of the video. It's so full of emotion. A lot of people say, oh, well, Life is Killing Me is their weakest album. Weakest as far as not as dark as the other stuff, but the songs are still really good, you know? I mean, I understand that everybody has their personal preferences. Like, my favorite Typo albums, it depends on the day. Usually it's either Dead Again or World Coming Down. Depends on the day. Like, World Coming Down is their darkest, but Dead Again, I think, flows really nicely, you know? And also, it's 10 straight songs. All killer, no filler. It's still 78 minutes long, which is just ridiculous, but... Travnord, are you going to keep the original version of the typo video when the new one comes out so we can compare the two? Yeah, absolutely. I'm not going to George Lucas this. This is being advertised and promoted as its own separate video, which I personally think is superior. I think that you're going to feel the same way. And as long as YouTube is going to have it, the original video will stay up. On the off chance that any of my videos end up making it on Blu-ray someday, the extended version is going to get it. But, yeah, the biggest thing I wanted to fix was the factual inaccuracies. It really bugs the shit out of me when factual inaccuracies are in my videos. So that's why I do extensive research on a lot of them, you know? Helter Skelter says, I'm going to see the Misfits tomorrow as well. It's going to be my first punk show. Dude, if you see me at the show, fucking say hi. That's why I tell people, come say hi if you see me at the show. Some people are like, oh, well, I was shy, I didn't want to approach you. Fucking come on, I'm a social butterfly. Okay, so I haven't told anybody the story about seeing KMFDM in Carborough. So KMFDM came to Carborough, North Carolina, about a week and a half ago. Okay, so it was on the 17th. And it was a weird day to begin with, okay? I was selling plasma. And the way it works, they stick a needle in your arm, and the tube, they're supposed to tape the tube to your arm to keep the needle from moving. And the lady who stuck me accidentally put the tape on the far end of the stat, and as she went to undo it, the needle came out of my arm and fucking blood squirted everywhere. I was going, whoa! It took 3 people to contain it. And I was just like, don't let it get on my good jeans! So, it did get on my good jeans, and there was like a quarter-size splotch on the back of my pants, and I was like, oh fuck, I'm menstruating! Everybody laughed at that one. And then, I get home, and a criminal is running from the law, and he's hiding out in my yard. He's like, hey, I don't mean any harm. I'm in trouble with the law. You know, please don't call the cops on me. I'm like, He looked a little fucked up. He was, like, bleeding from his nose, and he had, like, kid's backpack. It was half opened. Had to call the sheriff. So that was a weird way to start the day as it is. And then I got to the venue a couple hours early so I could hear the band's sound check. And this couple was fist fighting in the fucking parking lot, and I had to call the cops on them too. So that was a weird fucking day. But I get to the venue, and the show happens, and it's really awesome. A friend of mine showed up there, and we were making jokes and giggling like high schoolers. And yeah, after the show, it was really nice. Got to meet KMFDM's roadie, Pedro. Seems like a nice dude. And got a picture with Sasha after the show. For the last few years, I've been wearing this Victoria's Secret cologne called Very Sexy for him. And as we were taking the picture with Sasha, Sasha said, "You smell good." Oh, I smell good. Why, thank you, Sasha. It's funny because a few years ago, I got to see Ash on his solo band when he opened for Lords of Acid. And when I asked for a picture with him, he was like, "Oh, your hair is so fluffy and beautiful." And he was kissing my hair as we took the picture together. I guess KMFDM thinks I'm suave. Yeah, that was fun. And the interesting thing, and I took a picture of this, Sasha lit up a cigarette on stage. And it's something you never see bands do now. Al Jorgensen did it a few years ago when I saw them in Philly. And Sasha did it that night, and I could smell that cigarette in the front row. He was smoking American Spirits. But yeah, that was a fun night. Even got to take the flyer home. I took that flyer to the library to get it laminated. And the laminate was so goddamn thin that a few days later, the paper started fucking crinkling up in the laminate. So I had to take a heat gun, remove the laminate, and take it to Office Depot and have them do it. And the paper got a little fucked up, but in a way that fits the band. So, you know. But yeah, that cologne that I wear, the babes like it, people seem to like it, and I've been wanting to experiment with CK1 because I've heard good things about it over the years, and Tony Soprano wore CK1 if you watch the show Sopranos, so yeah. Oh, goddamn. It's like $30 a bottle, but holy fuck. It's not overpowering at all. That is beautiful. But there was this chick I was talking to on Tinder that I invited to go to the show. She was 30 minutes away. I said, hey, look, you know, we've been talking for a couple weeks. If you want to go to the show, it's going to be a good time. You know, you'll meet me, you'll meet my friends, you know, etc. She was like, oh, well, you know, you got to give me 24-hour notice because I get anxiety when I meet new people. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm a social butterfly. I'm not used to that whole thing. And yes, I do get nervous when I meet new people sometimes, but you just gotta plow through it, man. You know, I'm easy to go along with, and there's not really any ice to break with me. It's a mindset, you know? I'm telling AIDS jokes in the first 10 minutes of us meeting, so what the fuck? Derek Lanebull says, hey, how's it going? First time watching your live stream, and I wanted to ask, do you listen to noise music like Merzbow? I do listen to noise music. I have not heard Merzbow, though. I'll have to check them out. Looney Tunes. Hey, Killbot. Excited for the new Typo reunion with Fernando Ribeiro? Sure. This morning I saw somebody post that Trent Reznor and Maynard James Keenan were bringing back Tapeworm. I'm like, man, fuck no. That's a joke. And I know it's a joke. I don't even have to look it up to see it's a joke. Lorbus says, what do you think of Front 242? Also, your kitty is so cute. Why, thank you. Thank you so much. Front 242 is awesome. Hopefully they come back for another United States tour, though I understand why a lot of European bands and Belgian bands and other type of bands from that continent are avoiding the United States. It's because the taxes for coming to tour here are ridiculously high. So, they're caught between a rock and a hard place. They want to please their fans and keep their momentum going, but they're also going to lose money if they come here. Even our own bands make more money in Europe than they do here. Ask Ministry. Ask Tommy Ramone. Both those fucking groups make more money in different countries than they do in the United States. Their home country. So, there you go. Alright, how many people watching today? We've got 40 people watching right now. Okay, that's cool. Let's see. Take a swig. So I wore my Columbine jacket to a club recently. Those of you who saw my last live stream, you probably already know this. This is the trench coat that I was showing everybody. Yeah, it's a really nice one. I wore this to a club a few weeks ago. And that was my first time wearing it out clubbing, and I was excited about that too. I was like, oh, hell yeah. And it was pretty cool because I got complimented on it. Somebody said, oh yeah, man, it looks like you're floating when you walk. It's like, yeah, that's what I'm going for. So I brought it with me to New Orleans, not knowing what the weather was going to be like, and the weather here is just absolutely beautiful. The air smells like the beach. You know, it's a little on the humid side, but not in a nasty way, you know? It's humid in a relaxing type way. But anyway, I wore that clubbing, and in the last hour of being at that club, some blonde lady walked up and wanted to dance. She was hitting on me, of course, and she wanted to dance, and she dusted off a beer. We got to the dance floor, and then she said, hey, I'll be right back. And she went and got another beer. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? But she spilled beer on my nice coat! I'm like, damn it, this is the first time I'm wearing this to a club, and you're spilling that. And, well, one conversation led to another conversation, and we were going to leave early. And then she wanted to get another beer. And as we were sitting at the bar, I was like, hey, maybe don't get too wasted, you know. And she made a cheeky comment about that. And suddenly I was like, yeah, you know what? Never mind. it was one of those things where it was like, I didn't notice how drunk she was on the dance floor, but as soon as we started talking at the bar, it was like, yeah, you know what? You're a little too fucked up. I don't feel comfortable with this at all. I'm just gonna leave. Yeah, I left without saying goodbye, but chances are she wouldn't have remembered it the next day anyway. But yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, are you fucking... Oh yeah, and something else that pissed me off was she asked if I drank, and I said no. She was like, oh, well, how long have you been sober? Oh, well, why don't you drink? Can we ban the why don't you drink question? It's 2022. There's not really a polite way of saying, because it makes people act like idiots, and it's a waste of money, and I'm health conscious, and, you know, alcohol has had a constant negative presence in my childhood. How do you tell that to strangers? You know? Actually, that's kind of a video that I want to do, is why I don't drink. I feel like it would kind of go into darker territory than I'm used to. But I don't know. It just, maybe it'll be comforting for some people. Okay, who else? Drunkar says, just missed the train and waiting for another in an hour. Glad to see your live stream. Thank you so much. I'm glad that I'm able to get as many people in here as possible. Callum Cook, as a dude, I have benefited greatly by growing my hair longer. I don't normally get approached or complimented, but now people stop me in the street to say how nice it looks. It makes me feel good. Yep, absolutely. I don't know, it's something magical about the hair. Like I said earlier, it keeps you youthful. Even the old guys who are like, oh yeah, I used to have hair like that in the 80s. Had to cut it off, man. I said, hey, it's never too late. Never too late to grow it back. Columbine Co. Denisha asking if that's a jacket. She fucked up. No, she didn't fuck it up. I just came home and had to like wipe it down. It still looks really good, but like... And actually, that friend that I'm staying with in Texas, there's supposedly a goth night going on Sunday. So if she's not too tired, then we may go to that. And that's what's going to happen. And actually, I think there's a goth band playing tonight in New Orleans somewhere. But they start at goddamn 10 at night. So I'm going to have to take a nap in a couple hours so I can stay up for that. There are a few other things I want to do here in New Orleans before I leave. A month ago when I was in Cleveland, I visited the studio that Trent Reznor worked at when he was beginning the recording process for Pretty Hate Machine. Well, here in New Orleans, at 4500 Magazine Street, was Nothing Studios. That's where the albums The Fragile, With Teeth, Antichrist Superstar, and I want to say Smells Like Children were recorded. So yeah, I'm real interested in like landmark stuff like that. But also, since I'm seeing the Misfits tomorrow, I want to visit the graveyard where they got arrested. For those who don't know, they were looking for the grave of a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau. Yeah, they were looking for her grave. And the way the New Orleans graves are, they're above ground graves. And sometimes you can see bones just in random places in the graveyards. So as they were looking for this gravestone, they were picking up bones along the way, thinking they could use it in their live shows. Well, people in the neighborhood got suspicious, and they called the cops. And the Misfits got arrested for grave robbing that night. And the fucked up thing was, the cemetery they were in was the wrong cemetery. It was the St. Louis Cemetery, but apparently there are two parts of the St. Louis Cemetery. She's buried in the first lot, and they were looking in the second lot. I may have gotten part of that story wrong, but feel free to correct me. Yeah, so since I'm seeing the Misfits tomorrow, I definitely want to see where the Misfits got arrested. So, yeah, Nothing Studios, Marie Laveau, and there are a couple other things I was thinking about, but I'll think about it. Vapor Dreams says, not metal, but do you like Daniel Johnston? I don't know who the hell that is. Helter Skelter says, I want to get into Ghoul. What album should I start with? Dungeon Bastards. Fucking banger of an album. Snaggletooth. Dude, this is so unfair. You aren't even reading my comments. I've read your comments. Parsi Lass. I'm watching you at school. Hey, teacher. Necrophilia. Vapor Dreams. Watching from Corpus Christi, Texas. Corpus Christi. That's a good band. There's a church down the street. It's like Corpus Christi something. It just makes me want to listen to Corpus Christi. But, Buried Guy. What's your favorite Pantera song? Floods. Denisha Freeman. I'm about to leave for Boston. Can't stay. Oh, Boston. Yeah, I've got some family in Boston. You should enjoy that. Definitely. Your next concert is Lorna Shore with Carnifex and Chelsea Grin. Going with your little sister and her boyfriend. Gonna be great. Well, that's good. I hope you have fun doing that. Carnifex is a great live band. I saw them at the 2016 Summer Slaughter. Their stop in Wilmington, and they did a good job. Carnifex is a good band. Number one Chainsaw fan. Wow, I joined at a good time. I just saw Ghoul for the first time. It was the best show of my life. I can't thank you enough for introducing me to my favorite band. Oh. That's good. That's good. I'm glad you like them. They're a great live band. They're really nice people. The albums are awesome. And the guy who got me into metal actually played with Ghoul for 2 shows as the drummer. Then he was replaced by Dino Samisi of Dystopia. And the rest is history. So, there you go. Good old Dino. There's a good interview that somebody did of him several months back on YouTube. And it was cool. It talked about his time in Dystopia. It talked about Nuthgrush. It talked about... I want to say it talked about Asunder a little bit. But yeah, definitely check that out if you got the time. Cult Leader. Do you think Watain will ever be unbanned from the United States? I didn't know they were banned. I mean, they can come back if they want. It's, you know, it's more of a thing about the culture. And lately, all these fucking protesters wanting to ban black metal shows because they think that all black metal bands are Nazi bands, which is just... What? Buried Guy got a new guitar as a gift. Well, that's cool. Greetings from Argentina. Oh, I thank you. The Zan42. What's your favorite Death album? I answered this earlier. Sound of Perseverance. I think Death got better as they went along. Glorbus says, what is your hair care routine? Okay, maybe now is not the time to ask me this because my hair it's got some split ends I need to get trimmed. I want to start doing it myself. I just don't have the tools to do so. But hopefully I can rectify that in the next couple weeks. I use Cantu leave-in conditioner. I also use some Aussie shampoo and conditioner. I also use Sally's, no, not Sally's, Apogee's protein treatment, which you can get at Sally's, and that's really cool. Also, I stopped using hair ties and started using scrunchies, and I think that's helped a lot. But something else is I only wash my hair once a week. You know, instead of washing it 2 to 3 times a week, and that's helping keep the oils in. It's helping with breakage. And ultimately, it's just... like, at first, my hair got dirtier quicker. But once my hair got used to that routine, it started looking better. So, number one Chainsaw fan. I dressed up as Cremator at the show, and Digester came out of costume, and Ross gave me a pick and set list directly. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, those guys are really cool. Denisha says that Shea Moisture conditioners are also really good. Yeah. Yeah, they are. Let's see. Another band that I've been binging this month is Black Sabbath. I got in the mood to listen to one of their songs, and I'd realized that the CD rip that I had for that song was from the original United States CD, which sounds quiet and thin and has dropouts and isn't very good. There's always got to be some fucking dog barking in the background. But anyway, the 2016 remasters of the Black Sabbath albums actually sound really fucking good. Better than the originals. And they're cheap. So, since I have the 2016 remasters, I re-ripped them. And just after hearing one album, it sent me on a rabbit hole where I wanted to listen to the rest of their stuff. And that seems to happen with Sabbath. You know, I've binged their entire catalog when I was 16, 17 years old, and I'm already very familiar with it. But this month, I'm, refamiliarizing myself. I bought the deluxe editions of the Mob Rules and Heaven and Hell that came out last year, and they sound really good. I used to have the Rules of Hell box set, which it was packaged really cool. It was just, the mastering was kind of loud. These new deluxe editions sound even better than that. So, yeah. Even the bonus tracks are kind of cool to listen to. Even though I'm hearing 5 different versions of Mob Rules. Thank you, King. Your hair is so nice. You should try Fishtade Braille one day. Thank you, Glorbus. Thank you. Okay, so how long have we been doing this? We started the stream about 56 minutes ago, so I don't want to keep this going on any longer than an hour because of replay value. So we're going to have to wrap things up in a few minutes, but I just wanted to discuss some of the cool things that have been going on and the things that I'm looking forward to. Apparently Dallas has some really nice food, which I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to the burgers and the pizzas and meeting all you lovely people who are going to be at the Misfits tomorrow. And, yeah, it's going to be fun. Oh, yeah. So I posted a picture yesterday on my social media that, I was the statue that's on the cover of Crowbar's Sonic XS in its purest form. Well, I got a picture in front of that statue. Well, let me rephrase that. In front of the gate that's in front of the statue, because that little courtyard is gated off, I got a picture of it a couple of years ago, and this homeless lady came up, and she was like, oh, hey, I can take the picture for you if you got $1. I'm like, yeah, sure. So I gave her $1, and then she said, you got any more? I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Anyway, she took the picture, and it was a shitty picture because I looked like a goddamn Muppet. And so this was, a couple days ago, me taking another picture in front of it was making it right, I looked like, just like, what the fuck? It's like I paid $2 for this. Okay, so before we wrap things up, I just wanted to remind everybody I have a Patreon if you are into that type of thing. My album Tales from the Tube is on Spotify and any streaming service you can think of. It includes the brand new song Dame of Darkness that came out in August. And on my Bandcamp, you can also buy the album, where you can also buy my shirts, my hoodies, and my patches. I got about 30 of these right here, reserved for all the lovely people who want to say hi to me at the show tomorrow. So, these are $6.66 a piece if you want to order this from Bandcamp or from my Instagram page. And thank you all for joining me. Grind on, and hasta la gaga, fuckos.